Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking into something truly significant, the death of Justice Antonin Scalia.
An event that certainly shook the American justice system.
Exactly, and for a long time, the story was, well, settled. Natural causes.
That was the official word, yes.
But the sources we've looked at suggest maybe not. Maybe something quite different.
Right, and that's our mission today, isn't it? To explore how these sources might totally reshape what we thought we understood.
Let's start with that baseline. Remind us, what was the story everyone heard back then?
Okay, so the initial report, the one that became the common understanding, was that Justice Scalia was found deceased at a hunting resort, and the cause of death was listed as natural. The initial autopsy report, it showed nothing unusual in his blood work. Pretty standard, seems straightforward.
Right, the accepted narrative. But then our sources point to this independent lab. What did they find?
Well, this is where it gets quite startling. This lab, which apparently tests fluids not usually included in standard autopsies, reportedly found something in Justice Scalia's spinal and ocular fluid.
Something specific.
Yes, a chemical, one that's linked to foxglove.
Foxglove. Isn't that?
It is. It's a plant, but it's also known to contain compounds that can cause heart failure. It's a potent poison.
Wow. So finding that changes the picture dramatically.
It really does, because suddenly you have evidence of a substance known to be lethal. It makes you question everything, doesn't it? Especially in such a high-profile situation.
And one of the sources we reviewed puts it very bluntly. It says this finding, quote, opened the way for a new round of investigations.
And it goes further. The implication drawn in the source is that maybe Justice Scalia, quote, didn't have a heart attack and die, he was murdered.
Murdered. That's a huge leap from natural causes. It forces a complete rethink.
A total reevaluation, yes. If true, it changes the nature of the event entirely, from tragedy to potential crime.
And the setting itself, that hunting resort, the sources describe some peculiar details there too, right?
Extremely peculiar. There's this account of an unidentified man.
Unidentified.
Completely.
Yeah.
Described as wearing sunglasses, a camel hat, a whole camo outfit. He supposedly passed through a gate at the resort.
And then
Was never seen again, never identified by any authorities, according to the source.
vanished.
Yeah.
The source actually called him.
A ghost, an assassin. Chilling language.
Definitely unsettling. How does someone just disappear like that? Especially from a place likely hosting high-profile guests.
The source doesn't explain how, but it certainly raises the question. And it feeds into the what if this wasn't natural, who could be involved, what's the motive.
And then there's the investigation itself. The sources suggest it didn't follow the, let's say, expected path.
Right. Apparently the investigation wasn't initially handled by the FBI, which you might expect.
Who handled it then?
Homeland Security, reportedly. And the source we looked at, an anonymous one, claims this was because the FBI director at the time was seen as, quote, obviously compromised.
Compromise. That's a strong claim.
It is. And that same source adds that Homeland Security did identify the mystery man using something called factual recognition.
Factual recognition, like facial recognition maybe. Advanced tech?
Possibly. The source implies some kind of advanced technique, but here's the kicker. Even though they supposedly identified him, his legal identity still seems to be fake. A fabrication.
So a man identified, but not really identified. More layers of intrigue.
Exactly. And this leads into the why. The sources float some theories about motive, but it's important to stress these are presented as speculation.
What kind of speculation?
Well, one idea mentioned, sort of tossed around in the material, is about a globalist group.
Okay.
This supposed group, the theory goes, wanted to influence the Supreme Court, make it more liberal. Again, this is a theory from the source material we're analyzing.
Right. Important context. We're relaying what's in the sources, not validating it. Was that the only theory mentioned?
No, there was another one, also presented as speculation being discussed.
Which was?
It connects to, quote, the idea of Obama and his shadow government, which the source claims has been in place since Republicans took Congress in 2014, that this entity might somehow be connected.
Okay, so two quite different and politically charged speculative motives presented in the material. Important for you, the listener, to know these are theories from the sources we're examining.
Absolutely. We're just presenting the information found there.
So when you take all this together, the toxicology finding, the mystery man, the unusual investigation path, these speculative motives, how does it impact your view of what happened? It certainly shifts things.
It profoundly shifts the narrative presented in these sources, yes.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we've moved from a widely accepted story of natural causes to, well, Something much darker and more complex presented in these sources. Potential poison, a vanishing figure, shifted investigations, competing theories.
It really underscores how drastically the understanding of a major event can pivot when new information or alleged information like this surfaces.
A completely different story, potentially.
It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? How quickly can our certainty about something crumble? And what does it mean when such serious questions, such consequential details presented in these sources remain unresolved, challenging that initial narrative so fundamentally? Something to consider.